We are
We
recording. Okie
be
dokie.
here. You probably didn't think it was going to happen. It's like the 25th and radio silent, and you're going, we need a movie.
Well, I know I have the weekend is completely filled up, so it's like I don't have time on Saturday or Sunday. So
If we hadn't have done it, you'd have found time on Saturday or Sunday.
yes, but it would have been very difficult, and I
Just
would
before
like
you go to
this not
bed.
to be difficult.
Just before you go to bed, you go, I'm going to go, I'll just talk
Oh
to
yeah,
Jeff.
oh yeah.
As
Talk to Jeff for a minute.
fall asleep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Talk about
that
the movie.
helps me fall asleep. So we watched the Thomas Crown Affair,
Yes, we did.
the one from 1999.
Yes. And what did you think?
I liked it. I have seen it before, but I have never watched it with a critical eye. So that it's different when you kind of intentionally watch it.
Yeah, I saw it before too, probably right around when it came out. I forgot a lot about it because I'm going, what happens next? Is this good or bad that's happening?
Yeah.
I do remember the struggle. Certainly when I saw it, I remember there was a humongous struggle between what is real and what is not. And am I being duped or am I not being duped? That was the sort of real theme of this movie.
Right. Yeah, no, it was like it was a heist, but it had layers to it that were just, very not convoluted, but deep, and it wasn't just a simple little plot line. I really appreciated that.
Did you hear about that Banksy photo in the museum that when it was bought for 30 million, it shredded itself? That's so brilliant.
Yep.
That's so brilliant. Like that reminded me of this because it was like what happens in the movie. You go, what's going to happen? How's that? It's impossible. It's really impossible. Oh, yeah. You figure something out similar to that Banksy move.
Yeah. You wonder what the person who just bought it and saw it shredded went. Yeah. No, I will watch Pierce Brosnan do almost anything. I mean, and he's a rich playboy. So I mean, he looks his best. Like it's right in his wheelhouse.
I am not gay, but maybe a little bit. Pierce Brosnan.
Well, it's not just, he's good looking, but he was wealthy and he knew how to treat someone, and he was, he had people helping him and he was kind to them, and he was just all those things, and he was smart, and yeah.
I mean, Rene Russo also was fabulous and attractive and statuesque, and you can't not look at her even when the rain was coming down and her hair got all rained on, and you sit there and you look at her and go, oh my goodness, I like the way she looks. And then when they were dancing and the music was on, and you just go, oh, that was good. It reminded me of a moment in my life when I was dancing. Not Jennifer's wedding. No. Is that what you're thinking? What are you thinking?
I don't know. Just it's like, I really identify with Pierce Brosnan. I used to dance the same as him.
I can tell you I did. You remember the girl from Lebanon?
Yes. I don't remember her name, but yes.
When we went to the Berlin nightclub in Toronto, I'm on the dance floor with her, and she was way too good looking for me, like way beyond my station, didn't belong in the same room with her. And we were on the dance floor, and every man wanted to be me, not because she was so good looking. That certainly was part of it, but because she was giving all her attention to me. So I'm standing, and I just watch. I've never been that. When you're on a dance floor with a girl back then, they're dancing around looking at everybody else, looking at how they're being looked at and such. Like that's their sort of job out there. And it was the opposite. All she cared about was that she was with me. And I had those moments of feeling like Pierce Brosnan in that, where I was the king of the world. Every man wishes that they were me because of the attention she was paying for me.
Yeah, you're a rock star, whatever that term is. There's just
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that before. And maybe it's because she was from Lebanon and she had a different culture. And you know what I mean? She didn't come here to be seen by other people. And she didn't know anybody else. You know what I mean? Maybe there's a whole bunch of things that wrapped around that to make it happen that way. But I certainly remember it viscerally. I can remember the manliness I felt like at that moment, similar to how he was there and how they were dancing together. And yeah, that was very good.
Yeah. So this is a remake of a movie from long time ago.
I like when you do the heavy lifting and figured I didn't know.
It's a remake from a movie, and Faye Dunaway plays the starring role like the Rene Russo, and in this movie she plays the therapist who just gets to laugh at Pierce Brosnan trying to figure things out, that was a great cameo. Little tip of the hat to her. She did a good job for that.
She really did. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know there's another movie. I'm probably going to want to watch that other movie.
Yeah, that's what I find with these movies is like when we watch Terms of Endearment, now I want to watch Evening Star because that's the sequel to it. And it's like, okay, there's these ones that now it leads you to other movies, either by an actor or by a plot line or whatever. So let's see. Like I've seen this movie a few times, but I didn't catch the fact that when he's walking across the street to the museum and the big truck, the delivery truck is there, almost hits him, and the guy says, you know, you are an idiot. And it's like, okay, that's the guy who hired you, and you don't even know it. Like I didn't clue into that.
That's not what I was thinking you were going to say. No. I had that scene also. I watched it 3 times, but you know why I watched it? Not because of that at all. That's hilarious that you didn't see what I saw in that same scene.
Why? What did you see?
Watch it again. He steps out like he's about to step in front of traffic.
Yes.
And there's a car stopped right next to him. That truck had to stop, not for him, but for the car. This like garbage truck or whatever.
Yes, that's a
slams on his brakes, and it's 6 feet away from another car. It's not even him.
Yep.
Then he goes, "Oh, sorry, I'll let you go. You go ahead and go." And it shows him doing this, and their car is still 6 feet away. Yes. And then it cuts to the truck, and the truck goes, "I'm going to speed off like I'm mad." There's a car in front of him. He couldn't do that.
Yeah, that's a blooper. That's one of the boo-boos that they had. They have it a few. The truck was Aladdin Cleaning Services, and on the truck it spelled one way, and on the guy's shirts it spelled another way. So that was one of the bloopers. But the worst blooper that it only makes me more upset the more times I see it, because the first time it was just so dashing and it didn't matter. But when he rips the Monet off the wall and he opens up his briefcase, he puts it in there, and then he closes it, and it's in a frame, and you can't close it without cracking the wood. And then he opens it up, pulls it out, and it's back in the frame. So that bothered me. That only bothers me more and more every time I see it.
Yeah,
the first time he was like so swift and debonair, I didn't catch it. So, but it's almost like, oh well, you know. Same with when they noticed the briefcase was underneath the bench. Yeah. Why didn't they just rewind it until the briefcase shows up? Like, why didn't they just, oh, there, look, he's walking in and sitting down and putting it, they didn't do that. So there's a few things that way that I thought, okay, it wasn't continuity. It wasn't quite perfect, but you got to suspend your,
I love how the laser beams go this slow to circle a room. Like, just go. Like, they can do whatever they want. They're laser freaking beams.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought that was sort of, and then even closing the in front of the metal walls, closing in front of the picture. They're going like to build up tension. Well, you could put them on springs and snap those things closed because there's a fire in the room. That's what you would do.
You have to go, and then. It gets stuck with the pencils that aren't attached to each other. There's 2 separate pencils, and they're like the thing that would have shoved them together, and then the 2. So
cane, anything like it just drops something in there.
No, it's
2 pencils sitting in a trough that could freely move.
Yeah, but Did you know that Paul Simon from Simon and Garfunkel had a role as one of the Thomas Crown acquisitions guys?
No, I didn't.
I didn't know that. I hardly recognized him. I think I saw him. I don't like he didn't have a big role or anything, but it was like, oh. And I love when he walked into his apartment or his home. He was looking at the mail and he says, "Oh look, may have won a cruise."
I remember that, and I think I remember that scene in the first movie. And thinking that's a pretty cool line to just sort of throw in there as a like, how silly is this?
Yeah. One of the things I appreciated was how smart she was. She knew her business and she knew her stuff. Although I since looked it up, and she knew the payload of the helicopter, and apparently she's wrong.
I was going to say, when I heard that 600 pounds is all it can lift, and that was a huge helicopter, that means you could put two or three people in it, like legitimately, and that helicopter could have taken way more than 600 pounds. So
yes.
It was cool for her to say, see how much I know about everything, but you're right, at least be a little bit accurate with. You could have done one of those little, remember those Bell helicopters with the big glass bubbles on them? You remember those? The old style ones from Hawaii Five-0. Remember the Hawaii Five-0?
From Batman. The
Batman too, yes. And that one maybe could do a total lift to 600 pounds. Like that's the kind of thing. But that's just, that helicopter could have done, I don't know, 2,500 pounds. I don't know what the payload of them is. It would be kind of around that kind of level. It's a big helicopter. Yeah. You might have got the name right, because Sikorsky is the name of a helicopter maker in the US. Yeah. So whatever model number they said after it could have been true. I don't know helicopters that well. Yeah,
I think that was a continuity goof, and it wasn't like Rene Russo's fault. It's the writers who didn't research it enough. Like apparently something, the way they copied the keys was also a boo-boo. That kind of key didn't get copied that way. Right. But and apparently she took the keys out of his right pocket and put it in his left. And it's like, okay, did he know the whole time that she had taken his keys? Like, he doesn't show it, but I think he knew the whole time. I think he knew everything.
I think he knew everything too. I think she was the one who kept doubting herself. He pretended to be doubting himself when he was doubting himself. She was the one who, at the end, felt legitimately fooled. And remember, I mean, I really liked the scene when they did the bowler hats and all the people were walking through, and she's like going, he's going to do this. He's doing something that nobody even imagined. How is this going to come about? You know what I mean? Like, like that was sort of like, why? But why would he steal it just to put it back? That's sort of strange, other than thinking, I'm going to get caught.
To make the copy of it. He did it to make the copy of it.
Get the girl there to make the copy of it. Okay.
Yeah, that's really the only reason he did take it.
Yeah, but
I know.
What are you going to do with a copy of it? In other words, he's risking all that to have a copy of it?
Yeah.
Is it because he collected art and he wanted a copy of it? A really close copy of it?
Yeah, same with when he stole the last painting for her and then she just gave it back. So like, it's almost like he just did it so that, and we didn't get to see him do that. So it's kind of like, well, how did he do that?
I don't think he stole that to give it back to her.
She had said, that's the one I would like. And so he stole it to give it to her. And he's saying that I can get you anything you want. And then she's like, of course, I'm not keeping it. Like, it's not worth it.
And she thought it was over, right? Like when she gave that back.
And she still gave it back.
Yeah, but I mean, she's smart enough to be in that world to know you just can't pick it up. Like Timothy Leary, is that his name? What's his name?
Dennis Leary.
Yeah. Like he was a bit of a dumb cop because he said things like, when they try and fence it, we'll just catch them. That'll be great. Like, that's a bit obvious that's a silly comment. It means you know nothing about even being a cop. Like if you don't understand fencing, and that's not how this person's going to get caught. It just seemed so obvious, and I don't like when things are that obvious.
But for a little while, they made you think that she might end up with a cop. A little bit, like I didn't think she was going to, but like there was a little bit of.
You mean when she at the end?
Yeah, but it just like they're working together, and yeah, I didn't think that they were going to fall happily ever after, but there was
Really?
tension between who am I going to help? Am I going to help the guy I'm now falling in love with? But
be a good citizen. I don't think fall in love with a cop though.
yeah.
I never even, that didn't even cross my mind. Even when she kissed him at the end, I'm not going, oh, this is going to turn passionate in a second. That's just who she is. Yeah, no, I never, it's maybe because she was so much smarter than him. He seemed like I'm not that he was a Columbo, because he wasn't buffoonery, but he just was, look, she was always a step ahead, always was able to figure things out. And like he even said, oh, I thought you were just an idiot, and now I realize how smart you are. And even in saying it that way, you sit there go, man, she's so much smarter than him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but he ends up being, I like how he says, I'll teach you, we'll figure out how we can do this together. And that reminds me, one of the movies, I think it's done after this one, is After the Sunset, but it's Pierce Brosnan stars with
Salma Hayek.
And I love that one too, because it was kind of like, what do you do with these people who just keep on wanting to steal and are really, really good at it? Reminds me of like the Ocean's 11 too. Like, we don't know people like that, and I don't know that real thieves are like that. But I don't know. Paul and I know they could be. I don't hang out with thieves very often, so. But it's kind of. It's a peek in their world, and so it's a peek in a rich world, a peek in a guy who can get anything he wants, and will he get the girl? Is like, you certainly don't think so at the end, And then
I thought it was going to be his daughter. I'd forgotten the twist that they put on that girl at the end.
Yeah.
When I saw them together, and the fact that they were always just there, and then when she even came in to see him to say, "I'll come with you," and he's sitting there with her. And he said, she works for me, but I can't tell you in what capacity.
Right.
She got all mad at it. And then you realize it had nothing to do with what she was assuming.
Yeah.
But I really thought that you're just going to say, that's my daughter, and I can't tell you about her, or whatever the case is. But
yeah. Well, the movie reminded me just a little bit the Pierce Brosnan character reminded me a little bit of the Pretty Woman story. Not that Julia Roberts was a prostitute and Rene Russo is an investigator, so they aren't on par. But the male character, both are these wealthier than know what they should do with money, and yet they have their own little issues. So yeah, no, it was. I liked the movie. It had a little bit of swearing. It had a little bit of naked romping, but it wasn't.
I forgot you get to see Rene Russo's boobies. I was happy with that. Well, but it wasn't crass or anything like no. So I thought the romantic scenes were really nicely painted, like really, like you looked at it and you went, that's a sweet way of showing it. Like it was even when they showed that top of the room view of them on the stairs and you know what I mean, like running through the house, having sex everywhere. They didn't do that in a real obtuse, awful manner. It was sort of,
no, but it was grittier. It wasn't, I don't use the word sweet. He doesn't need sweet. He needs something.
I thought it was sweet. I mean, I'm comparing it to Monsters Ball, where that was just like. So when I saw this, I mean, I thought it was pretty. I thought she was pretty the whole time. I thought he was pretty. I thought like they didn't like there wasn't any slamming up against the walls kind of moments. You know what I mean? Like they do in a lot of.
Yeah, the ugliest she was is when she had to walk through the rain and get her hair a little bit wet.
It was funny. That was a mistake too, because her hair was right matted down. Then she shows up at her door and her hair's fluffed out a bit. It's wet still, but it's looking like this. She's got her big fullness back. And I went, oh, wow, she must have done a bit of fluffing before getting to that door.
Yep. One of the things that I noticed was that there was no technology, like cell phone-y stuff. Like they could have the story could have been different if she was on her cell. Like, so in some ways it felt a little old-fashioned in that way, because it's just nowadays that she'd been looking up stuff and on the cell phone.
Well, it just the lack of any of that kind of. I mean, they have laser beams. They're trying to show futuristic stuff in a really poorly done way. I mean, when he threw the pucks in and they all rolled, and then the smoke came out of it, I thought that was sort of neat. And they certainly use technology. It's funny when they're in the control room and all these round TV cathode ray tubes are not flat screens.
Yeah,
like, pull that up on that screen. Pull that one up. That looks really archaic now.
Yeah, and I guess I mean personal technology.
Yeah, well, there wasn't any phones then.
Right.
That's what didn't exist. I mean, I think back then you did have phones you could put to your ear, but they didn't really push on that. You know what I mean? They weren't. Were they picking up phones and calling remotely? I don't recall that being a thing.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing them doing that kind of thing.
But I like the art because I know most of the paintings that I saw on the wall. It's like I know some of them are some of the artists. I had watched one of the boo-boos as they were talking about this being one of the first impressionist ones, and it wasn't. There was another painting that actually holds the title of being called the first impressionist painting, but it was close enough for me. And I have a Monet in my house. Of course it's a print, but it's like I liked it that much that I slapped one up on my wall.
Yeah. All that art did look, I mean, all that art at that level looks sort of interesting, and it's like you can read stuff into it. They're good enough to make you really want to think when you're looking at it. But
I went to see a Monet in real life. McMaster's library had a copy of a Monet, and they were advertising that they had a Monet. And it's like, I am going down to McMaster. So I get myself down to McMaster and I go to the thing and I look at it. And the bloomin' painting is this big.
Yeah.
And it's just like very simple. And yet I was looking at it and it was like, holy cow, this is great. You know, for being so tiny, it was just, it's like, can I take a picture with it? No. Can I borrow it? No. Of course you can't do any of those things.
The museum in downtown Fredericton that supposedly, did they say it had a Monet?
Well, he did so many paintings that I'm sure that they're around.
Yeah, no, but it had a bunch of big artist real paintings in it, like Fredericton. It's the size of Ancaster and Dundas put together. A museum in Ancaster and Dundas would give you nothing. You know
what they do is they make it part of a group, and then that group travels sometimes, so that it goes across Canada, that they get to enjoy. That's part of the
cultural
the contract of how they get in and show art. I'm not overly full of that, cognizant of that world, but I love that they came in on a Trojan horse. That was hilarious. You know, just these little nods and tip of the hats to a bunch of things. What else? But
the fact that first robbery was a fake robbery, it was just to point people into thinking that that was sort of neat. But
she said, was it really a failure?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It did what it was supposed to have done, like point people in a different direction, and it accomplished that. Yeah.
No, it did. I enjoyed lots about this. Let me see. I made a few notes. What did I else? Oh no, the trust thing. He didn't know if he could trust her. She knew she couldn't trust him, and then is she going to turn him in? And turns out she does, but it didn't matter because he covered his.
I think she sort of hoped that, because of the way he laid it out. It's almost like she goes, "I'm going to be double crossed by him." Because he gave it to me in such an easy silver platter. You can arrest me.
Yeah.
And then it was a little obvious when he came in, he stood there and he's walked around and he's showing himself to them, and they're like, looking, follow me, follow me, follow me. And then they're comfortable in there. I got this guy. And that's why he did it, because they became comfortable in the catching of him. And that's how they lost him, was in that comfort.
Yeah. He came up with it. Like, he has these brilliant schemes. And he gets all these people involved, and then all in the briefcase, they all have a picture, and how they tied it together of, you're just a man in a hat. and they saw that same painting at the beginning of the, like, so just tying it all together is kind of cool. I like it was well done that way too. So the one line, what he's when they were doing the acquisitions, he said, a tired man lays down his hand and quits the holy game of poker. And I like that quote of when do you give up? When do you decide that?
He also mocked him as soon as he said that. And he like, and you did, you know what I mean? Like that kind of, we beat you, we won.
Yes.
Like that, I thought that was uncalled for almost when he said that. That was like you loser, you gave up.
Well, no, because he was being forced to sell, and they were saying, ha ha, got you. We finally got the richest man on the planet to, he has to sell, ha ha ha, we got you. And so he like pretends that it's okay. And then turns out, they overpaid by whatever millions of dollars. So it's almost like they did exactly what he wanted in the first place, but he still went like, I didn't want to have to do anything except on my terms. And it looks like he had to do a little bit of finagling for some things, because he managed to, like, he cooks, he takes her, he knows how to dance, he gives her gifts, out to dinner, he gets into reservations where no one else can, and he's kind to the people who are chasing him, like to the cops, sends over something to the cops who are sitting there.
Some fancy wine bottles. Yeah, he was just so in control. That was what was so attractive about him.
Yes.
He reminded me of Mickey Rourke in 9.5 Weeks. Just like so far beyond the control that we could imagine having. You know what I mean? Like if we were in that situation, we'd be like, oh, I don't know how to treat people. I don't know how to be. I don't know how to be a bigwig. And it just effervescently flowed out of him.
Yeah, like the only way, not the only thing I can compare it to, but it's like when someone says, oh, I need, a pair of little scissors. And it's like, well, I have some in my purse right here. Like, but then I have everything in my purse. Like he had everything taken care of. He foresaw every sort of possibility. And
I don't know if he did. Maybe that girl Friday, that Japanese man that was working for him, like, remember he would just be there and do things, like even give her the drink she wanted. And then like she says, I guess these clothes are in my size, aren't they? And he goes, well, close enough. Yeah. But I don't think because he's that rich, that he goes, okay, let's sit down and have a meeting about what we're going to do with her.
I'd like 5 size 12s, 5 size 10s, and it's like, well, I hope she's a size 8.
I think somebody else did that job for
but
him.
he knew how to instruct whoever it was to get what he wanted.
Yeah, I know. And that idea of being that guy in that situation and then going, I'm willing to leave it all. I'm going to run away with you, and we're going to start over, and we'll be fugitives with money. That's the best kind of fugitive. You sort of, I don't know, you sort of like that the romantic side of that it's just them against the world now, and they both trusted it at that level.
But you want to see what happens next, don't you? Like, where did they go?
Yeah, but I guess. But the next story, you don't want to be tragic, where he's got to make another heist to make more money. Like, he's supposed to have enough money to live comfortably and grow old with her, kind of thing. That's the romanticism of it.
Yeah.
So and a guy like that who ran companies and built stuff, it's hard for them to sit down and go, I'm just going to put my feet up in the beach for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's why After the Sunset kind of proved that you kind of can't. Like, there's this need to keep on doing what you were doing.
I wonder if that was not that he played the same character, but I wonder if they were trying to show this, like the second stage of this.
Well, that's what After the Sunset is kind of written about, right? It's like, okay, what happens after?
But did they do it in mind? Was it written all by itself and it just fit? Or did somebody go, hey, you know what? Let's write a movie that sort of is the continuation of this one. Like,
and the fact that they got Pierce Brosnan to do it is like, okay, we just had, like, well, George Clooney.
As soon as you see the same guy doing it, your brain goes into that same story. That's how like, as a sequel almost. You don't even, it would have been nice to have Rene Russo again, because then I
love Selma Hayek. That was a great casting and all that stuff. It was a good pick.
Yeah, yeah. All three. What were the other ones I offered you? Let me see.
Unforgiven.
Yeah.
And Sense and Sensibility. Sense and Sensibility, the thing is I probably want to talk an awful lot about that because I like Jane Austen. And I'd probably be bringing in the other movies, and I'd want to do a lot of research on that before I. It's not like I could talk eloquently, but apparently, if I make no notes, I really don't have anything to contribute. So I would want to make too many notes. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, that was a good, straightforward, not rom-com because there's no real comedy. Rom-crime. Hey,
yeah,
a rom-crime.
Now I want to know though how he knew to be on that plane. Like, did he just buy a seat on every single flight leaving? Like he had the money to do that.
He could have had her followed. He could have, like, there's so many different ways for a guy like that to have figured out how to do that, and then just go to the front of the desk and just go give me a plane. Oh, we're filled up, sir. Well, offer somebody 10 grand to wait for the next one. I'm taking their seat, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, but we don't get to see that. We just know it's done. So it's a little. It's like,
yeah, I wasn't for a second. I had what you had there, and go, well, how is he getting there? How is she bawling her eyes out, and he's be able to comfort her now? What I didn't like, really bothered me, was when they were making out on the plane. She's bawling, he comforts her, she crawls over, and the stewardess comes out and goes, "Hey, get back in your seat. The seatbelt signs up." Oh, they're kissing. I'll just leave them. She like almost went, "Oh, that's so cute. I'll go on about my business and not follow FAA rules."
Right.
For love.
Yes.
Like, that, they won't let you do that. And she did with a, like, what's the definition of aplomb? Like, she did that with aplomb. Is aplomb that?
I don't know.
Aplomb.
Aplomb.
Okay, Google. The definition of aplomb.
Here's the definition of aplomb. Self-confidence or assurance, especially when in a demanding situation.
So,
perfection.
Yeah,
she
didn't
right.
She didn't have that. Okay.
You're right. And the plum's not right. You're right.
This is very off topic, and I have to blog about it. But I've been trying out my Google Maps, and so I was trying to go to Freelton Library. So I'm in the car, and I kind of know where it is, but it's like, let's see what the traffic is to get there. So I said, Freelton Library, Free Alton Library, Free Wilton Library. Like they gave me 6 options and none of them. Redirecting to Pennsylvania to the Free Alton Library. It's like, no, shut up. So it's like I must have an accent of some sort, or like Freelton Library.
I think you could spell it F-R-E. Like if you know the spelling.
I tried doing that and it didn't work. Like nothing was working. I had 6 choices and it's like, but apparently if we figured out later, if you say Hamilton Public Library, Freelton, it would have taken me right there to it. But it was like, I didn't want to do it. I wanted to see if it would, and it wasn't letting
I know you heard me saying aplomb with such trying to pronounce all those letters.
A plum, a fruit hanging on
I didn't want to say a plum. I wanted to like a plum. What word has 5 letters and 4 of them are silent?
No idea.
So here's what's cool about that. If there's a word with 5 letters where 4 of them are silent, you could quickly find it by going through every letter of the alphabet, because if 4 letters are silent, so like the word T-E-A, right?
Yeah, that's 2 letters.
3 letters. 3 letters, and E and A are silent because you just say the letter T.
C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S.
I like it. You already passed it.
I am. No.
Q.
You?
Q.
You.
No, Q.
Q.
Q. What's the word Q?
Q-U-E.
Q-U-E-U-E.
Yeah.
The Q in a line.
Q, yes.
And it's pronounced Q. All the other letters are silent.
I'm gonna have to keep. I play Wordle, and it's a 5-word game that you have to guess, and sometimes that like just recently I got stuck at the end because, like, if it's I'm trying to think of the word, like boost, roost, like it had, 4 or 5 first letters that it could have been with the other 4, and it was like, okay, I'm going to run out of guesses. So
I know I remember having that too, where I did that a few times. But there is either apps or sites that you can go to where you can actually type in the letters. So you have the 5 spaces, and you go, I know this is an O here, and it also has an R and a T. And these letters M, B, X, S are not used. And it goes, here's the 7 words it could be.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, I like that one best. You do it. Now it's only down to 2 words. And you go, okay, like that kind of stuff exists. So you can.
Sure, but that's cheating for me. Like that.
It is cheating for sure. I mean, it's not, because if you had all day to think about it, you would have got to those same conclusions. You know what I mean? Like,
but sometimes there is no way to get it. Like my first word is always audio, and the second word is almost always style, because that takes all the vowels and the Y out in 2 words with the S, the T. So those are my.
I used audio a lot for my first one too. And I like steam sometimes. Problem is you do audio and then it's just an E in it, and there's only 1 E, and then you've had to use the second one just to find that there's an E in it. And of course there's an E in it.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why sometimes I just threw the word steam, because I started at S-T-E-A and M, like right down the middle letters. Like,
yeah. And every once in a while it's not a real word. So way off topic again.
Did you see my TikToks on this?
Not recently. When did you put it up?
Starting a couple days ago. Go to my TikToks. You remember how I was trying to figure out, you're doing your TikToking, walking, and your maps, you've got like a plan, and I always wanted to come up with a plan. And I was considering the poem If by Rudyard Kipling, and taking, because that's such an important poem for me, taking 2 lines and reading it and then saying why I think that's important, and the times in my life where I've used that to address something. And I'm thinking, who really wants to listen to that? Probably no one.
Yeah. Well, I liked your one about rejection, or.
Yeah, I was essentially addressing somebody else who'd written one, and you can't just make a video and point it to somebody.
No.
You know what I mean? Unless they're following you, and then you can message them, and I couldn't. So I just did that, not knowing if that person would ever come across it, but just thinking if it's that poorly done. And I'd seen the same kind of topic a few times. But then, so I remember when Connor was here from the UK, and I was really trying to figure out what I can do. And he was saying, take your old TV show, computer TV, and just take little funny 2-minute little clips out of it and put that in. That might be cool. And I go, you know what? That wouldn't be bad. That's sort of funny. And then what happened is I had followed this person who does the limitless mind coaching kind of stuff. You've seen all the Anthony Robbins-y kind of people. You know what I mean? And so this woman had put up a bunch of content, and I was looking at the content, and I was going, this is not content I believe in, because I don't like that coaching kind of stuff. I think you should coach yourself. And she, but her message was ridiculously consistent, and she put out 3 and 4 things a day. You know what I mean? Like where she actually sat down and did content that was well thought out and well done. And she just kept doing it. And yet she had like 1 like or 2 likes and 1 comment. And as I'm going through this, I'm going, how is she staying this consistent? And when you watch the first ones through to the 50th ones, she's like not giving up and not getting frustrated. You know what I mean? Like it was just, it was a professionalism that made me go, that's a hardworking individual who, and in it, she started. So I communicated that to her. I said, oh, I've noticed that not many people are saying, I don't understand why. She goes, and she wrote back and said, that's just how people are. And I just want to keep putting this out. I like it. I enjoy it. And then she was saying something about some educational software thing. And so that, because I like the software development when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I said, I've got some ideas on that. You want to chat? She said, yeah, that'd be great. So last Friday we had a chat, but before last Friday, we were going to chat, like video chat kind of thing. I thought I'm going to read more of her stuff to really get a sense of who she is. And in it, she'd written a book, and she talks about it in a couple of her little things. And that book is called Suicide Kills. And it's about her brother committing suicide. And so then I went, you know what? I'm going to buy that book. I went to Amazon. Sure enough, I can find it in a second. I can get it in my house in 2 days. I can at least look at it before I even talk to her. One is to show her I'm taking her seriously, that I'm not, that she put something out and everybody else goes, oh, you wrote a book. That's good. I'll buy it. I want to learn about her. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to start talking to her, I can at least show her that
respect.
I'm not a person of, I saw you wrote a book. Can you send me one? Like that kind of person. They're all out there, right? So I started reading it and I was like blown away. And so when we had the meeting, we had great discussions. I told her I bought the book and I said to her, I have an idea. Tell me if you think I could do this. I'd like to read a chapter and then do a TikTok on it and just go through the book like that. Because I was considering doing that for the poem If, and now I have something, I think. She goes, that would be the most amazing thing if you actually did something like that for me. Like I would be beyond belief. That's all an artist wants is somebody to live it. And you're actually telling me. She goes, I have a lot of people going, what a great book. It was really important. Thank you so much for writing it. And you're going to go in and do a little bit of your brain dump on my brain dump. Yeah. And so she was really touched. So I did an introduction of why I'm doing this. Then I did chapter 1. Then I did chapter 2. She also did music. She also is a singer, incredible singer. And what she did was for each chapter in the book, there's a song. So I get to, in my thing, sort of play a little bit of the song just to give them an idea that she's made this book where and it's a dark book. I read the first chapter and went, that's dark. And she told me it gets darker before it gets lighter. It's, you know what I mean? It's going to get worse. And so one of the things she had said, which I really liked, was I wrote this book and everybody around me said, why are you doing that? You're dredging up stuff from your past with things that are difficult. You're going to be talking about people in your lives and they're not going to like things you say. And she says, I just have to do this. And like, because she came from such a dark place and yet somehow found a way of superseding it. And then she said, the moment I was done the book and I handed it off, I guess, to the publisher or whatever, she goes, it was like, it's not my story anymore. It's the world's story. All that weight was lifted off my shoulders. I wasn't nervous about it anymore because it's out there. It's in the ether. So to find somebody's journey, to go through what she went through, and then are you looking the book up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were. You should buy it. You should actually buy the book and then go to her on TikTok and say, my brother is the one who's doing the videos. Maybe after he's done, I'll do the same thing. You know, that would be sort of a cool thing if you did your take on it after my take on it, what you thought. And she wants the bad. She goes, if you don't like something, if something you didn't agree with, tell me. Yeah. I don't want you to just glorify me and say how great the book was. But when I read that, I'm thinking of all the people that would need a book like this, especially a woman who's like 15 to 25. You can be shocked into learning of what the world is a bit about that you have to prepare yourself for. Like it's awesome that way. And she found a way, you know, the whole victimizing, you know how people are in I survived cancer, and she had cancer too. And she goes, I sort of don't like that. I don't like the fact that you have this label of surviving cancer, then it defines who you are. And I don't want that to be who I am at all. It's, you know, like a broken arm. Nobody goes, I survived a broken arm. I got better. Like it's awful. You know what I mean? Like but it's not, that's just one teeny little piece. And it's, she didn't even like the groups. And I actually said in my review, I said, when you said that negative things about the groups, I think it helps some people a lot. So I don't know that saying groups are bad is such a good thing to do. It's groups fit some people and other people want nothing to do with it. And you were one of those people who wanted nothing to do with it. So anyways, I'm doing that. And she wrote, if you go to her thing, she wrote after watching the first one and wrote me did a TikTok, and it was an incredible thank you to me for doing it. There's actually 3 in the little series that she did. So about 10 entries ago, you see her bringing it up, and I was so touched with how she said it, and I can't wait to now read the 3rd chapter. But
yeah, cool.
Awesome. I love this because I found something. I found a little thing. I know already one person is really, really liking it. That's all I was hoping for, because I didn't think anybody would like If.
Yeah, and I like it when like that criticism, because the CH thing went out, and I had 2 people's, I won't say critical, but it's like, what in the heck are they thinking? But it's like, okay, there are people out there who thinks, like, one of them said something along the lines that must be nice. She must have a whole lot of time to waste to do that, to do the walking. And it's like, someone else said, no, she probably has a full-time job and leave her alone. And it's like, well, no, I don't have a full-time job, but I've made a priority. And someone else said, does she pitch a tent and sleep out there? And it's like, well, no, that's why it's taking me 8 years, because I'm taking it slowly from home. And so, but it's, I think it's important to be able to hear that criticism so that you can address that. Some people don't understand the whole story, and you haven't communicated it. And of course, you can't do that in a minute and 30 seconds on an interview, but it tells you what people don't know yet. And that's an important thing.
Yeah. And for her too, it's just, the music is wonderful. And if you do buy the book, and then say that she'll send you a link to the music. So as you read a chapter, you can listen to the song that she wrote that addresses that chapter.
What's her first name? How do you pronounce it?
Klaude.
Klaude? Okay.
Klaude Walters.
Right.
And I say in the thing, because she's not told me this, but I actually say, I think I figured something out. Her last name is not Walters. It's like Furlong is her actual last name. She lives in Guelph, by the way.
Okay.
But then her brother's name, who committed suicide, name's Walters. And her pseudonym for her writing the book and for, I think, her music is Klaude Walters.
Okay, so she's taken her brother's name.
Well, I can't imagine that being her maiden name, Walters. Then her brother would have been Walter Walters. You know what I mean? It just seems like that's not what would have happened.
Right.
I said that in my TikTok because I don't know. She hasn't told me. I'm just trying to figure this out of myself. So I don't know if that's true or not. All I know is, like, I sort of have this need to tell people about this book because I'm a guy and it's a woman's story. And I think a guy who's 25 years old and reads this can say to themselves, I can understand a woman better now. I can understand what their fears are and what they're up against and what I don't understand. Because I think I understood all of it, but I never really got it the way, and I've only read 2 freaking chapters. It's going to get dark still, I think. And that's sort of, I guess, why I get to peer into something that's not mine in a real difficult way. You know, when somebody shares something with you and that's how you create intimacy, when they tell you a secret, it's almost that. I'm getting, wait till you hear her thing, which she says to me when she says it like this. She goes, I'm in my car where my husband had to go to a store. So he went in the store. I sat in the car. I saw the video and I watched it. And by the time he came back out, I was bawling my eyes out. And that was for the video, the first video I made on chapter 1. And like, so I love the fact that she did it that way, that she talked about it. And that makes you feel like you've touched her, and all she wanted to do was touch other people. You know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous almost from my perspective, that I'm anything but oh yeah, go ahead and do it. That she's like connected up. So I also gave her an account to MB.
Okay, is she on the Klaude Walters Writers Club?
Oh, maybe.
It's probably the same person.
And if you look her up on YouTube, you can see her being introduced at Hamilton Place, and you can hear a bit of her singing. But the singing in this is, I'll play a teeny bit for you and tell me if you can hear it.
Hey, we are way off topic.
Yeah. I can't stop. Here's what the problem is. I can't stop talking to people about this.
I know.
We
should close this one down and then talk about it and make that just a TikTok thing.
And the best one, you'll see a duet. I did my first duet.
Okay.
I did a duet with, I read her book, and then I heard somebody come up and do, you know, you get the TED Talks, and a girl comes out there and goes, oh, one of my favorite quotes from Rumi is something like, when I was younger, I wanted to change the world. And then when I got older, I realized I have to change myself. That was the quote.
Yeah.
And I said, I just read that in her chapter. So I go to the chapter, and she said something incredibly similar, like through this search. Yeah. And at the very end, I changed myself. So what I did was I took the book, and so I get the video of the book, and as this woman is saying it, I show it's this book, I open the page, it's underlined, and I take my camera and I move it right across the words to essentially align with her saying this incredible saying was already figured out by her.
Right.
That was cool. The duet was like, I felt so proud that I'd figured something out, a little trick. Yeah. Not the duet trick, but a trick from her writing to something important. Yeah. I don't know. I patted myself in the back for that one. That was a really neat thing to do. So,
well, it's funny because with the TikTok, I put up some of the walking things, and some of them went, got like 1,000 views. And now I'm back to 23, 35. It's like, I have no idea. I'm tagging it the same way. So I clearly don't know how to do TikTok.
I don't know the algorithm either. That's what I said to her. I don't understand. I have 500 followers and she had 700 followers. I go, you've put out incredible amounts of consistent, way more professional than mine talking. And you have 800 followers. How does that make any sense? I have 3 stupid videos of me holding a camera up to my TV for a 5-second clip.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
So it's so funny. Your followers, where do they come? When you look at the demographics, who are they? Who's following you?
There's a handful of people who I know from Facebook, but the other people, I have no clue. And I think they're trolls. They're people, because like on Facebook, I get the, that was a very beautiful post you just made. I think we should be friends. And I sent you a request, but it did not work. Could you please friend me? I think that, the light has shone on your creation. Like it's all fake. So I think that's most of them. It's just
I don't even get those words. I just get follow. And I think they want me to follow back. I think they're just trying to get followers, because why is 90% of the people following me young women, half of them from Asia? You know what I mean? Like, and the other half are showing as much cleavage as they can. When you go under the thing, go to my Instagram, you'll love it there. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I have men in the U.S. military who want to, So it's like, okay, yeah, right. No. It's great to. That's why I'm getting it. I'm a guy, and they think that the girls, they just want followers. Why they want followers when they're not putting out content? I don't quite understand that. Why do they want me to follow them? Why would they follow me and not have me follow them for a reason? I sort of don't quite get what I don't get those. Like, even I was looking up, I was trying to find a mattress protector for a single mattress, not a twin, a single. And so I'm searching for single. And I get all kinds of, are you interested in finding men from this area? Are you single? And it's like, no.
You're in trouble now.
No, I'm not.
Your phone's going off the hook with military men who are retiring.
Yes. Not even that many, but yeah, I get the scams. Okay, so I just sent a friend request to Klaude Walters, and I'll start searching.
Oh, like on Facebook?
Yes, I think you should take clips of our talks that have nothing to do with the movies and make TikToks about them.
I know you said that. I don't. Maybe. That's just a lot of work. The problem is, what I'm doing takes a lot of work, but it's reading the book. It's not really a lot of work. You know what I mean? Like the sitting down and doing it. It's not killing me for time. But doing that, I have to go through it and watch the whole thing. Oh, there's a snippet, and that's good 2 minutes worth of, like, that's a lot of detailed work, not love work to get to the love piece, the thing you're going to love about it. You know what I mean? That's
okay.
Whereas this is, I get to read the chapter, super thrilled in doing that. I mean, the funny thing is, I'm the last guy who should be doing this review. I haven't read a book in 25 years, like a book that had a spine on the back, like that had paper in it. I read computer stuff all day long, but I read so differently than most people.
You and my mother and our mother just don't read. Karen doesn't read.
But I read. When I read this, I have to read every word and understand it. If there's a word I don't know what it is, I will look it up. I will never pass a word that I don't fully comprehend. And without looking it up or asking Google, what does that word mean? I don't want to go, because when I'm doing software development, I'm reading technical stuff. You have to learn the thing you're reading about. You can't go by it and go, I don't know what that means, and continue on. You will be lost.
Right. But so there was I'm part of a Canada Writes. It's a Facebook group with authors. And someone has said, I'm thinking about an elevator pitch for a young adult fantasy thing that I'm writing. And so she gave a synopsis of the story. And it sounded like a great synopsis, but it used the word MAGES, magus. And I didn't know what that word was. So my comment to her was, I don't know that word. And she said, well, it's plural for Met, MAGE. And it's like, okay, I don't know that word either. So I said, maybe your audience is a lot smarter than I am, but just to let you know that you're in your elevator pitch, you lost me because I don't understand that word. Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's sort of important to know. So what I should have done is say, wow, like she said, everyone in the young adult fantasy world knows that. And I'm sure they do, but then I'm not your audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's funny how, do you really want people to have to stop and like, unless you're truly trying to educate yourself, that's when you want to look up stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a good chat.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay. We'll see you next month.
You'll figure out something after the 20th or around the 20th for the next one. The 70s,
90s.
You're doing 90s, going backwards.
90s.
You're doing 90s again.
Yes. Okay. I might do Unforgiven, but that's only because I've never seen it. And I'm pretty sure there is absolutely no way to connect those two movies except to say they were both made in the 90s. I'm hoping that, I'm looking up the cast list of Unforgiven. It's like Art Garfunkel, excellent. Paul Simon. That's what I want, but I can't find it yet. Might be the first I have. There's no connection I can find.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording now.
See you next month.
And